This is a project that I'm working on for recording. Okay, so we're basically testing it, and alcohol was not supposed to be involved, but you know how that goes. So I've written some things to be performed as spoken word. I wanted to use various musicians that I know, and I'm using 4 of them here. I'll introduce them as the night goes on. I know as well as anyone how boring a spoken word performance can be, so I'm trying to keep it interesting. A lot of great writers cannot do spoken word, as you may or may not know, and I wrote these particular pieces for the spoken word. Those of you that read know that I wear my literary influences on my sleeve. And as I reminisced about tonight's performance, I realized that its contents read like a list of tortures from Decide by Artaud. So yeah, you're gonna love it. I've got a sense of humor though, so you better fucking laugh. Okay? Good, at least I can hear you in this theater. I couldn't hear anything in the last theater we did this in. All right, so Adam's in his velvet chair. My papers are on the ground. That's gonna be a good night. One more thing, and I don't feel the need to well, I do feel the need to preface this. These are not autobiographical. I don't go around killing people, raping people, pillaging, etc., etc., etc. Not autobiographical. Don't try to figure me out. You won't. Okay? Here we go. Yeah, I got the wife and the brats now, but my life wasn't always this way. No, I can remember not so long ago when I did more in one night than I probably do in a month now, but people change, things change, chalk it up to maturity, fuck, I don't know. Something had to give. Everything was just a little dysfunctional. Because I had coke stashed in the ceiling traps, in the toilet, in jacket pockets and closets, in holes in mattresses. There was coke for breakfast, for lunch, and then came the night. The shit I used to do, man, let's see, typical weekend night. Start off at Paulie's, slam some beers, some shots, do a line or two in the John, then me and Tony and Jimmy. Always the 3 of us together, we'd get all keyed up and decide to get the fuck out of South Orange. And drive through the Holland Tunnel and into that big rotten apple. You gotta understand that this was before Disney bought up Times Square. This was the Times Square from Taxi Driver, complete with the pushers, pimps, prosties, and the live sex shows with the track mark junkies and hustlers who just as soon stab you as let you leave without emptying your wallet. We didn't have much interest in Times Square anymore, no. We came there as kids, and we did the porno square to death. No, we weren't goddamn tourists. We took our business downtown now, to the Village, which was like an open-air drug market, where the freaks and the fags and the trannies and the most oversexed and underdressed chicks in the city all flocked. Like one big magnet for every misfit and miscreant in town. Where the clubs are like one big orgy, I don't think we ever left without getting laid. And it was Freak Show Central, man. I remember one night in particular, because we were all pretty wasted, we'd start off all drunk and did line after line in Tony's Camaro, so we were all geeked out by the time we hit downtown. Tony starts heading toward the east side when Jimmy tells him, no, let's make a stop on Christopher Street. And I say, what the fuck, Jimmy, you turning queer on us? But I know what he wants to do. Tony knows too, and I guess he thinks it's a good idea, or it's the coke talking, but he makes a beeline for the West Village. Past the touristy jazz bars, past the overpriced restaurants, and down to where Christopher Street intersects with the river. He barks and pulls out the .45 that his dad gave him and hands it to Jimmy, who crotches it, and heads over to the pier where the queers blow each other. Me and Tony stand back by the highway and watch. We'd been here before, we knew the deal. Jimmy walks by these 3 guys, all sexy-like, and one of them takes an interest, and they move out of the light. I can see Jimmy pushing his head, pushing him down on the ground, and he pulls out the gun instead of his cock and presses it up against the guy's temple. The guy goes for his wallet. He hands the bills over to Jimmy, and Jimmy gives him a parting shot in the head with the gun, making him fall to the ground and yells, "Fucking faggot," and heads towards us all, smiles and bills in hand. Get back to the car, do a line, and Tony says, "We scored." This guy had something like $460, and Jimmy says that he needs to get laid now, and let's go get some. We park somewhere over on Avenue B and head over to Alcatraz, this pickup bar on A&E. On our way, dealers try to get us to buy pot, and like 4 different house brands of dope. This is before Tony became a junkie, so we're fine with the rest of the 8-ball in my pocket. We step in the bar, and since it's like May or June, all these sluts are wearing as little as possible. Lots of black and leather bras and mini skirts. 2 drinks later, Jimmy goes up to some hot little number and asks her if she wants some company. Suggests that all 4 of us go back to her place. She smiles, says, "Give me a second," and goes to the bathroom. Tony says, "What about us, Jimmy?" And Jimmy goes, "Come on, it'll be fun. All 3 of us, and 1 for each hole, or each hole that matters, or something." Tony shakes his head, says something about swords crossing, or no crossing swords, and we all laugh and leave with this cunt and walk southeast to her place, which is a block from CBGB's. She offers us beers, and Jimmy tells her to strip. She does, and we get what we came for, all right. Only wish we brought the camcorder. Jimmy insists on the ass, okay with me because I had some bad shit happen there, if you know what I mean, but it worked out like a sleazy motel on a busy night. All vacancies filled to capacity, right? Jimmy gets her number before we leave, and we start walking down to the Bowery. Tony tells Jimmy that he came so fast because the career on the west side got him all worked up, and Jimmy starts freaking out and saying, I ain't no fag. And Tony starts on about how Jimmy was looking at his cock back at the chick's apartment. Just as Jimmy's about to freak out, this bum, this stinking, homeless, toothless motherfucker comes up to us and says something like, change, can you spare something, anything at all will do, homeless, jobless, helpless, bullshit. I tell him to get a job like everybody else. But here he is, parading around in the dead of night in rags, smelling like shit, and begging decent people like us for money. Free money. I say to him, I wish I could get money for free. He tells us he can't work. He says, I try. He looks like he's about to cry. I see Jimmy run into the deli, probably to pick up another 6-pack, and Tony and I are stuck outside with this smelly, dirty motherfucker. And Tony pulls $1 out and says, what are you gonna do for it? What are you gonna do for it, you fucking rolly? And smelly guy says, I'll sing a song. Only he's got a lisp or something, and it sounds like thing-a-thong. Tony says, thing-a-thong, what the fuck is that? Jimmy comes back from the deli carrying a bottle of lighter fluid. He looks at Smelly and smiles, and Smelly goes, please, help me out. Says, you don't know what it's like out here. Jimmy pulls out the coke razor, says he's gonna cut the nigger's balls off. Let's cut his balls off, and Smelly tries to run, but we surround him. He says, please, just let me go, and he starts laughing, telling him, we were just gonna help you out with some money, stinky. Tony says, I ain't touching him, Jimmy. You want to touch his balls, they're all yours. Smelly keeps looking for a way around us, but we close in real tight. Jimmy holds the lighter fluid, starts pouring it all over Smelly's rags, dousing this wasted piece of shit in lighter fluid. And he keeps screaming, help me, someone, please, until Tony hauls off and knocks his head against the wall and knocks the fucker flat on the ground. Jimmy pulls out his lighter then. I say someone needs to do something about population control in this city. Tony says it's a quick fix for the homeless problem. Jimmy waves us back and lights the end of what passes for Smelly's sleeve on fire. And he's screaming like a bitch, no, God, no, and rolling around in the ground, but nobody pays attention to screaming in the East Village. It's as natural as car horns bleeding and cats fucking. The truth is, nobody gives a fuck anyway. Tony says, there's your help, and points down the block where a cop is wailing on a bum with his nightstick. We watch the flames grow bigger, then smaller, as Smelly rolls back and forth in hysterics. When the lights finally go out, Jimmy says, now that was some fun shit, wasn't it? And we laugh, we head back to the car for a line. Tony goes, let's hurry and maybe we can make last call somewhere. And we did, I think. Then again, those nights are one big blur now. But those were the days, you know? That's our version of Tony.